All right, so I want to start off thanking everybody for showing up this afternoon. Silent Witness is partnering with CenturyLink to give a better understanding, clarification, as well as education to the importance of combating metal theft. Precious metal theft in the state of Arizona is a felony violation. We have detectives that are working closely with business owners, local municipalities, as well as different recycling businesses to make sure that we find and identify the people that are violating these, that are causing a large amount of money to be spent on fixing these utilities, as well as the possibility of the tampering of these utilities affecting emergency services themselves. With that being said, 911 emergency services can also be greatly affected by the tampering, by the thievery of these precious metals in these pedestals that you see behind us. It may only receive a few dollars here and there as thieves melt down the plastic housings and get to the copper wiring. Again, this will only achieve them a few dollars here and there to resell at these recycling plants, but what it does do is it costs the community a lot more. As I mentioned before, 911 services are affected. Just going to wait until the helicopter passes. I apologize. All right, as I was saying, it's not just 911 services that have issues when thievery like this takes place, but it's also your local families. Trying to communicate amongst each other here locally or internationally. These utilities are really affect your personal conversations and the emergencies that happen on a dinner table type atmosphere. The issues of calling into a medical emergency or calling into your doctor via these different utilities, that's what really has a lot of effect with the day-to-day operations. And that's why Silent Witness is partnering with CenturyLink so that we can educate our community and let them know exactly what you can look for in suspicious activity. Whether it's people working on these utility boxes, the vehicles that they're driving, the appearance that they have. And if you see something suspicious, it's important to report it, whether you're reporting to 911 services or you're reporting to Silent Witness because you don't want to have that kind of involvement. Silent Witness is available through our phone number at 480-WITNESS, 480-TESTIGO. A great option is also at our website at silentwitness.org, where you can provide those vital pictures, videos that really capture the people that are causing these different types of crimes. What we believe is a lot of these folks that are causing these thefts, these are people that are doing it often. These are people that we haven't identified, but they've probably hit several of these pedestals and they're repeat offenders. And that's what we're urging the community's help for, is identifying who these people are so we can make sure we put a stop to it at that point. With that being said, I'd be passing the mic over to Dan so he can kind of answer questions and talk about CenturyLink and the necessary aspects of these pedestals behind us.
Thank you, Sarge. Appreciate it. My name is Dan Chason, C-H-A-S-O-N. I oversee the theft and vandalism program for CenturyLink, and our job is to preserve signal and preserve our customer services for our paying customers to make sure they have the services they pay for, whether it's broadband, whether it's internet, whether it's phone. And the thing that it scares me the most about these thefts, whether it be aerial cable, whether it be pedestals, any of the assets that we have, it's not going to attribute to a death. It's going to cause a death, because grandma's going to fall and break her hip and she's going to pick her phone up and it's not going to work. And that is a tragedy. And people cut these cables or this copper looking for copper. They'll cut our fiber looking for copper. And then when they get the copper, then they've got to go resell it. And unscrupulous scrap dealers who buy it are a part of the problem as well. We need the community to come together and understand this. If you cut any of the cabling that CenturyLink provides, you can affect everyone needing any type of communication, up to and including every major cell carrier out there, every provider, every bank, every hospital. For an example, we had a cut in Tacoma, Washington. I get the alert It shut down the Port of Tacoma. It shut down the Tacoma hospital, the local hospital. It shut down the prison. They had to go on lockdown because they couldn't open their doors. Those are the type of downhill effects people don't see, because all they see is this pedestal. Oh, well, that's nothing. But let me tell you how it's done. And what we are asking for is the citizens to understand that you are an integral part of stopping this. If you see something, say something. What they do is they'll take their personal vehicle, they'll stick a sign, a magnetic sign on the side of it, which we'll show you pictures of it, and it says Joe's Cable Service. And they pull up to the road outside of your house, they put a cone in the yard, they put their orange vest on, they put their hard hat on, they look like a contractor. Guys, if they're not in one of these trucks, they're not one of our contractors. But they get out and they go and they cut this cable out of this pedestal, kill your whole neighborhood service, and you think they're out there repairing it. They're stealing. They're stealing. And what they do is they gather that raw cable, which you can see on the ground behind me, and they take it to like a city park or somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, and they burn it to get the casing off of it. Now, let's stop right there. How much money is that sitting on the ground right there in that water wire? Just take a stab. A little more than that. Copper price has risen, which has caused and attributed to the problem. So it's about $4 a pound. That's 20 pounds. They're gonna make $80. Do you know what my repair cost on that was? $6,716. Now, how long were those customers down when this was cut? They will go in and cut and not even steal the copper. They just go in and cut it. Go to the next one, go in and cut it. So if you see someone around one of these pedestals, you see someone with a ladder on a telephone pole, we don't use ladders on telephone poles, people. We don't. That's not a safe practice, and we're not going to do it. If you see something doesn't look right, say something. To give an example of where we're at today, we are 100% increased over last year in the amount of copper loss we've had in Phoenix, Arizona. 100%. Now, here's the other question. If you are a provider or you are a recipient, you're a customer of CenturyLink, and you've got a problem at your house and you need one of our technicians to come out and address it, how can he address that when he just spent a whole day fixing that? That puts him another day behind and another day behind, and another. We can't hire enough people to keep up with the rate that we're being cut. I was in a meeting yesterday with our field staff, and while I'm in the meeting, we had a cut. It's constant, it's prevalent, and it's predominantly done for two reasons. Organized groups looking to shut down the grid. That's critical infrastructure. They may affect federal customers, they may affect local customers, they may affect your hospital. How would you feel if you were in the hospital on a medical device and it doesn't work because you don't have service? What if you just had a transplant and you needed that machine, that infusion machine, and it doesn't work without our services? Those are things that people do not realize happens on a daily basis. And as long as we as a community stand back and allow it to happen, it's going to continue to happen. And what we would like to ask you to do is to utilize silent witness, utilize your local police department, and if you see something, say something.
You know why we're seeing an increase? What's prompting the increase? Is it the economy?
There's two factors. Number one is copper price has increased, so they make a little more money. And to the narcotic side of it, where a lot of these people are addicts and they're looking for their next fix, that's an ATM to them. It looks like an ATM to them, because you go take it to the right reseller. They're not going to check your ID. They're not going to verify you're the real person that you've got the ID for, and they give you money for it. Until the laws pass and we have legislation in place like we have in the state of Minnesota, they enacted a law where you cannot resell copper unless you have a license. Our events in Minnesota went from 1.4 million losses in the fourth quarter of 2024 to less than 3 incidents when the law came into effect in January. That works. That works. And until we put the nemesis on that thief, that he's got to go through a little bit of trouble. to move that and make money and get his next fix. Because what they do is they combine all this wire and they burn it. We had a place in Tucson, it's a good example. We had a case in Tucson. We use electric GPS trackers. We use covert camera gear surveillance. We use license plate readers. There's a lot of things we use to catch these people. I come from law enforcement, so I know what we have to do to get them behind bars, to let them look at some striped sunshine. That is my goal in life. I wake up every day, I'm wanting somebody to be introduced to some striped sunshine. And until we put those tools into place, we were just kind of left there to be a victim. Now, we don't have to be a victim anymore, because the very wire you're cutting may be the very one I have one of those trackers on. I don't have to get lucky but once. You as a thief have to get lucky every time. And with the help of the public, we can stop this.
So you're saying that you put in tracking devices in some of these units around the city?
A lot of these units around the city.
Do you know the dollar amount of your losses in Phoenix or Arizona?
You gonna let me use my cheat sheet?
And again, what we'll do is we'll break. So if you have individual questions afterwards, we can answer those directly, and you guys can get close of the different items behind us.
Yeah, item to pull that up for him. Scott, would you call Clay and get him to pull up a total loss, Phoenix?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this considered more terrorism?
It is definitely domestic terrorism. There is no other way to say what it is. Here's our problem. The federal government does not classify attacks on critical infrastructure, telecom carriers, providers like CenturyLink is. They do not classify it as a federal offense. It's only a state offense. And in some states, we have problems with them trying to prosecute it as a misdemeanor. We had a $100,000 cut in the state of Oregon, and they wanted to charge the guy with criminal mischief, a misdemeanor. When we start putting some hurt on them, and we start putting some, hey, you're not doing this anymore, it's going to continue. Why do we even have jails? That it tells you don't do this no more. That's all we're trying to do.
So what I also want to push out there is, in the state of Arizona, this is a felony crime. This is precious metal theft, and we're going to treat it as such. But we're asking for the community support in helping us identify these people. As I mentioned before, a lot of these folks may be repeat offenders, and it's being able to identify who they are and making sure they stop and they don't continue to harass our communities and make it unsafe for all of us. It's not just unsafe, but it's also very dangerous for them, as well as our community members with kids going around these different utilities. So we want everybody's support, everybody's help in identifying and stopping, mitigating these thefts as much as possible. Thank you very much. If we can break into groups, if you guys want to get close, we're going to be flexible. Whatever kind of camera shots that you want, let us know. We're going to make it happen. Thank you.
This one on the left that's leaning, that was one we disrupted in progress, so that's what it looks like when they try to burn the casing off the wire while it's in the pedestal. That's what it looks like. That's the wire after it's removed from the pedestal, and this is the feeder wire that's underground.
And so they're after all of that.
They want all of it.
Who's buying